Welcome to the Social Millennial Podcast. Gang. We out here. You feel me? We doing it. We making it through. Delta variant's out here, but it ain't killing us. I mean, shouts to all the people who have lost loved ones recently. I mean that it's not killing our resolve. We are most certainly going to beat this. We are most certainly going to keep fighting it. We are most certainly going to make it through this, y'all. I know it's a tough time. I know some of us have lost loved ones. Stay strong. But we out here. You feel me? Out here, NYC. For those of us who are stumbling upon this show for the first time, this is the Social Millennial Podcast. Just a kickback, just a chill. We talk about things that interested me this week. It may not be things that interested you. We talk about UFC. We talk about politics. We talk about media. We talk about entertainment. Yada, yada, yada. You feel me? This, that, and the third. Not hopefully, if y'all stumbled upon the podcast in the audio format, great, enjoy. Please leave a review on Google, etc., wherever applicable. Leave a like, leave a comment. Let us know how you feel about the podcast. Even if it's not a 5-star, do what y'all do. You feel me? Every little bit of feedback counts. Every little bit of feedback feeds the algorithm. You feed me? You feel me? You feed me. If you're stumbling upon the video format, enjoy seeing my beautiful mug over here, because you are much appreciated. Everybody's much appreciated. Whatever little bit of time that you take out of your day to come and watch the show, thank you so much. Whether it's a minute, 2 minutes, 10 seconds, if you stay for the whole thing, wonderful. Thank you so much. It's much appreciated. Your time is precious to you, and that you decide to allow us to spend some time with you and in your daily life is pretty cool. It's pretty great. So thank you so much. If y'all want to follow us, social media, we're at Social Millennial Pod, 1N. It's not a typo. It's like that on purpose. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. So at Social Millennial Pod. We're not on Twitter. We're not on TikTok, etc. We're not on Snapchat. If you're listening, we're on YouTube. Check us out, the Social Millennial Pod. Leave a like, subscribe, hit the little notification bell so that you could just get notifications when the podcast is dropped. You feel me? When the video component drops. For those of you who want to follow us listening, y'all want to drive, y'all want it with a cup of joe, with your radio routine in the mornings when you get up or whenever for your workout. At Social Millennial Pod, of course, we're served everywhere or almost everywhere you get your podcasts at. So Stitcher, Radio Public, Spotify, Google, Apple, you name it, we should be there. And if we're not there, let us know. We will get there. All right, y'all. We try to do this show once a week. If we miss a week, we miss a week. It is what it is. We got to do what we got to do here on the business end. I'm doing a whole lot of things. Y'all are going to be seeing me if y'all haven't been seeing me yet in certain films, certain places, up, down, left, right, this, that, and the third. So yeah, thank y'all for spending time with us. Do all of those things. Follow along with us. Comments where applicable, review where applicable, like where applicable. Thank y'all so much. Let's get to it really quick. Not really quick, but first off, talking about Spider-Man. The Spider-Man trailer dropped. The Spider-Man Far From Home, No Way Home dropped. Now there was a lot of speculation about what are we going to see certain individuals from the other Sony Spider-Man movies, and that is pretty close to confirmed. Let me not spoil it. The link is going to be in the description. Oh yeah, also where applicable for the audio version and for the visual component. I know y'all are watching. All of the links are going to be down in the description where available, where applicable, for everything that we talk about. I'm going to have a recommendation later on. The links are going to be down there. All right, y'all. So the No Way Home trailer dropped. I'm not going to spoil it for those of y'all who haven't seen it. I know it's made its rounds, but just don't want to spoil it yet. Go and enjoy that. Definitely, it's going to be a multiverse thing going on. Remember last movie, Far From Home, we've got the ending of that. I figured everybody's seen it, so I'm going to spoil it, where Mysterio's got sort of like a death protocol where when he dies, he frames Peter Parker or makes it look like Peter Parker killed him and started all of that craziness. And then also gives away Spider-Man's identity as Peter Parker. So that's the thing. He had a death protocol. And so we're picking up off of that. Everybody knows now that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So that's going to be a thing. It's going to be super interesting. I'm super hyped for this movie. I was hyped for this movie before the trailer. Now, what was interesting, an interesting little bit about the trailer is that it seems like Disney, they got their hand sort of forced to release the trailer. We were waiting for the trailer. Kevin Feige was very tight-lipped about when they were going to release this trailer. Now, this is a Christmas movie, so they were not going to release it now. I feel like they were not going to drop the first teaser now in August. But there was a leaked, unfinished version of the trailer that was leaked out to the internet and started making rounds. And it was like hours later, Disney Marvel dropped the actual trailer. So very interesting, very wild. I remember the last time something like that happened was Wolverine, X-Men Origins, Wolverine. They had dropped the trailer came out of an unfinished version. No, it was the movie got leaked, which was wild. The whole movie got leaked, but it was like the film in its final edit, but with none of the CG finished. So that happened. That was a massive leak. So I wonder if this was on purpose or if somebody was actually like, if this was an actual, like a real leak. These guys, these studios say that that they're leaking things, but really it's just, they want to generate buzz for this. Now, if y'all hear some wildness in the background, there's some construction going on. Can't do too much about it. We're going to enjoy the sounds of NYC. You feel me? So if y'all hear that out there, that's what's going on. But yeah, so that brings us to another kind of sort of speculative thing going on. The rumor mill is spinning up that Disney wants to get these rights for Spider-Man. Like they want it. Now, I think they really heavily wanted it for forever. I mean, since Kevin Feige and the studio and Marvel became a studio and so on. But they couldn't, Sony wasn't selling. Sony makes a lot of money off of Spider-Man. So that's going to be that's wild. Like, especially off of the back end. You don't see them make a whole lot of movies all the time, a whole lot of Spider-Man movies. But off the back end and cartoons and merchandise and toys and things, they make a lot of money. So, what was I going to say? Right. So, Disney, Marvel, it seems like, or at least what the rumor is that Disney Marvel is willing to pay top dollar for the rights to Spider-Man, like buy out the rights to Spider-Man from Sony, so much that they are willing to go to the extent of buying out Sony's film department. Like just flat out, Sony's film division, just buy out the whole thing, billions of dollars, just to get the Spider-Man IP. Now, this is a rumor spinning around. This is according to InsideTheMagic.net. The headline is Disney reportedly wants to buy out Sony for Spider-Man rights. It's very, very interesting that this would even be a rumor, but it's Disney. They've got mad money. They bought the Star Wars IP for billions of dollars. So, I wouldn't put it past them. But yeah, I'm definitely going to leave the article there. I'm not going to go into too much detail about this. This is pretty much just, speculation from quote unquote credible sources. But yeah, very interesting. Disney is owning everything. But hey, Marvel, they got the X-Men back. And they got Deadpool. They got almost everybody else. I think the only ones that they don't have back are Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk. That's why we haven't gotten like a full Hulk movie. He could only do like cameo stuff or like ensemble movies because I think it's Universal that owns the Incredible Hulk, the character, the movie rights to the character. Yeah, so it's Sony that owns the Spider-Man IP and all of those characters, and Universal owns the Incredible Hulk, the Incredible Hulk IP and all of those characters. But yeah, super interested. I would definitely love for Spider-Man to come to Marvel because then they could do more things with him. It doesn't have to be subject to a Sony Marvel sharing deal. I think that would be pretty cool. Let me know what y'all think about that. Do y'all think it just leave Spider-Man to Sony and let Sony make their Spider-Verse movies and call it a day and keep relying on sharing deals for Marvel Studios and Disney? Or do y'all think that it's about time that Marvel gets to get its prime and most popular character back from Sony? Let us know. So next thing, now we are gonna end up leaning heavy into politics, but yeah, it's gonna be a thing. Now I feel like the sounds of NYC are starting to get a little bit too crazy, so I'm gonna take about 2 seconds and remedy that. So hold on 1 second, and we're back. So 2-3 seconds. Now you might hear a little bit in the background, but it should be very much so remedied and not so crazy. So yeah, we're gonna lean on some politics this episode, as we usually don't do, but I mean, this is prevailing news. It's too important not to cover. Now, I'm also gonna hit real quick before we leap into it, before we dive into it head first. Shang-Chi happened. That premiere happened. I really feel like, all right, this is my take on Shang-Chi. I do not see Shang-Chi as being a great Marvel movie. Based on the trailers and the marketing, it very much so. I'm gonna watch it, and I want to see if my prediction is if it meets my expectations. It seems like it's a mediocre Marvel movie, like a Thor, the Dark World, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like, it's just middle of the ground. I mean, middle of the road. They're hyping it up crazy though, like word of mouth, trying to hype it up crazy with influencers and on Twitter and so on, and on YouTube. I feel like it's a little wild. There are reviewers on YouTube who are like, this movie is in their top 5 that have seen it. You know, they did the early screenings. That this movie is in their top 5. I don't understand how that's possible based on the marketing material, based on the actors in it. I mean, maybe it's just not my cup of tea. Maybe they're just not doing the Hong Kong action thriller sort of kung fu movies or movie genre justice to me, because I really love that genre of film. But it doesn't add up. It seems disjointed. They released some clips of the movie. A notable the beginning, I guess, of the bus scene, so the bus sequence where I think he's revealing that he can fight to his friend, played by Awkwafina, for the first time, and it just wasn't shot right. It just wasn't shot right. And I went in and I saw that the director that they got is a drama director and not an action director. So that troubled me. I was like, oh well, this kind of makes sense. You know, it makes sense that it's not shot the way that it needs to be shot to live up to the hype, not to the hype, but to live up to the aspirations of being this kung fu movie. It's not, that scene specifically was not, at least that segment was not shot very well. And by not shot very well, I don't mean that the director is incompetent or he's not good at his job. None of that. I just see there's certain tropes, and not tropes, negative tropes, but there are certain calling cards of the Hong Kong kung fu thriller action movie, action film genre that were not there. You know, where a lot of American action movies really took suit and jumped in rank and file to emulate, to make their movies have that kind of punch, that kind of visceralness in its combat that a lot of the Hong Kong films have. A lot of Jackie Chan movies, you know, movies produced by Sammo Hung and directed by Sammo, directed by Donnie Yen and produced by Donnie Yen. Jet Li's films, how there's a punch to those films that were not present in American action movies. And when we had the crossover of, you know, the late 90s and the early 2000s where Jet Li started making American action movies, Jackie Chan came into American, you got some of that punch. That sequence, that bus sequence in Shang-Chi is just, there's certain beats that were not there. The fighting, though some of the fighting is good. There's like this very one little half a second part that I thought was really good. A really good angle that the director chose to catch it, and the choreography shone through. But there's just a lot of little bits and details, and the devil is in the details with these kinds of films. Jackie Chan knew that, Donnie Yen knew that, Sammo Hung knew that. They tell stories with their choreography. They tell stories with their stunts. There's acting within the stunt acting that has you go on this journey with this character in combat. And this sequence does not have that. They try to get it there, but the the directing and the camera work is not helping that. I'm probably going to do a video on it on my on another show that I'm setting up, that I'm starting. So stay tuned. But it just wasn't there. So it bolstered my opinion about this film that, man, this may just be a middling movie. It may not be that great. It may be good, it may be okay. I mean, I don't feel like the Marvel formula is getting old. I feel like they're trying to great effect, because you've got the Disney Plus series, the Marvel series, to great effect. They're messing with the formula, keeping the same things that make the formula great, but then messing with all the variables and trying to present it to us in a fresh way. I think they've been doing that very, very well. It just doesn't seem like this movie is going to be that film based off of the clips that I've seen, based off of the trailer, based off the marketing. It just doesn't seem like that. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I really like movies. I want Shang-Chi to succeed. It probably will. Everybody there is going to get paid. You know, they're going to get their money. They're doing their 45-day exclusive window with this movie, so we're going to see what's going on. There's reports that Eternals, and I don't think I'm going to do a link for this, but there are reports that rumors that Eternals might be pushed back, the release of the Eternals movie, depending on how the 45-day window goes with Shang-Chi. So we'll see that. We'll see what's up with that. But my thing that's bugging me is that these reviewers are like, oh, this is great. This is an amazing movie. Oh my gosh. I have very rarely ever seen reviewers be so unanimously in love with a movie. Especially reviewers that like I follow and respect, that are like, that I would hope are down with the culture, like are down with the culture, wanting to give honest opinions. You know, I know there's often some element of, you know, greasing pockets and things for reviewers to give a good review, or they feel compelled to give a good review, or coerced or influenced to give a good review because the studio called them and acknowledged them in coming to see the press screening, you know. So that's there, but man, too much praise for a movie. I haven't heard negative things about this movie yet. And that's strange from somebody. I mean, even if it's a troll, I haven't heard anything really super negative when it comes to the reviewers and the official word on what this film is. It's supposed to be coming out in September, which I think is really strange, having the premiere so early before the release date. And I think they did that to they see that they messed up with the marketing. They see that people really don't care too much about this movie the way that they did the movies in the past. So I think they're trying to get the screening. They try to get the screening to happen, get the advanced screenings to happen for the press, so that the press can go crazy about this movie, and hopefully fans will jump on, Marvel fans, and go and watch the movie because their favorite reviewer said that it was good and said that they should go see it. I think it's a ploy. It looks like a ploy. But yeah, Shang-Chi. Let me know what y'all think about Shang-Chi. You know, let us know in the comments where applicable. We're available. What y'all think about that movie? I actually want it to come out to be fire. Michelle Yeoh, I mean, there's great actors in this film. I was hype about the idea of Shang-Chi and possibly Shang-Chi giving way to Iron Fist, and that whole sort of side of the Marvel universe where you've got Iron Fist. Who else is rolled up into that? You've got Stick. You've got Daredevil rolled up into that. It's really cool. It's a cool opening. It's a cool gateway. I haven't looked at any spoilers yet for the movie. I haven't looked at any spoilers for the end credit scenes, because there's 2. And what everybody's saying is that they are the best end credit scenes that Marvel's ever done. So I'm still sort of hyped for the movie, but you know, I'm expecting them to try to be a Jackie Chan movie, and just failing in that. And I don't like that. If Marvel, in my mind, my heart of hearts, from my perspective, you feel me? If Marvel wanted to be woke or be, you know, inclusive, I feel and do the genre justice. Like if they cared about this, because I know the higher ups don't care. They're the money guys. They live their life a fiscal quarter at a time. I get that. But when you've got the filmmakers there that have some kind of attachment and some kind of care to this, I would care about these characters. I would hope that they would have went and made an attempt to get Sammo Hung to do this movie. I would have hoped that they went out and looked for Jackie to come in and be a consultant, or Jet Li to come and consult on the stunt coordinating. I thought, excuse me, I had a little bit of a trepidation with this film when I heard who the director was. I saw who the stunt coordinator was, who is a guy, an Australian gentleman who was part of Jackie Chan's stunt team, which I kind of rolled my eyes because I remember him in Jackie Chan's movies, and I didn't like him in Jackie Chan's movies. It kind of I had the trepidation when those things were announced, and that these individuals are the people directing, and not anybody who is steeped necessarily in Hong Kong thrillers. I mean, you want to say that the member that dude that's I forgot his name. That's the stunt coordinator. You know, he's part of Jackie Chan's team, so he knows what he's doing. Nah. When I saw that fight scene in the bus, it looked like it was reminiscent of a stunt coordinator who got called in to do a Marvel movie. So he's getting bank and didn't want to mess up the bag. He was in his bag, didn't want to mess up the bag, and his ability to break away from Jackie Chan and that whole crew. He was in his bag, didn't want to mess up the bag, so he just pulled out of the familiar bag of tricks that he saw Sammo and Jackie do in their choreography. That's how it looked. And it kind of worked. A lot of the gullible people, well, I say gullible, but just, you know, the casual moviegoer, individuals who are not super invested, I guess, I don't know, for lack of better terms, they bought it. A lot of people were like, oh, this fight scene is amazing. Yeah, he could fight. Yeah, oh my gosh, the jacket thing with Jackie Chan, it reminds me of Jackie. You know, but to someone, I guess someone like me, or just me, I was hoping for a little more, you know, hoping for the creme de la creme. I mean, when you've got, you know, Hong Kong, when you've got action movies that are really great action movies that are half the budget of what Disney puts into their movies and Marvel puts into their film, the budget of Shang-Chi, I'm sure, is $200 million. This is a big old tentpole movie. When you've got fight scenes, fight choreo from Rumble in the Bronx, that's better. Like, I can pick any fight scene in Rumble in the Bronx. The choreography is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times better than that bus scene. I can pick, even American, I can pick a fight scene out of Rush Hour where the choreography is better. There's acting, there's a story being told through the action. Come on. It's just, it didn't measure up. $200 and something million movie, I expect. $100 and something million movie. I was expecting more. You know, that was nowhere near the budget of Rush Hour. Nowhere near the budget of Rumble in the Bronx. Nowhere near the budget of New Legend of the Shaolin with Jet Li. Nowhere near the budget of My Father is a Hero. Like, nowhere near that budget. You know, the Shang-Chi's budget completely dominates and eclipses all those movies. I don't even think all those movies put together equal the budget of Shang-Chi. And for Shang-Chi, for that sequence to look the way it did, just eye roll. If y'all agree, y'all who are the connoisseurs, y'all who love action movies, I mean, I really thought when I heard Shang-Chi announced, I thought it was going to be the team from John Wick, directed by Sammo Hung. That's what I thought it was going to be in my head. Because I'm like, oh, Marvel has top dollar. Disney has top dollar. They're going to pay the right people to go and do it. To do it right. Nope. Especially after what happened with Mulan and how that was supposed to be a wuxia film, and the director would seem like she was clueless as to how to film a wuxia. Oh my God, Mulan was a disaster of a kung fu movie. Disaster. Oh my gosh, it was incoherent. Oh my Lord. So I thought that Disney Marvel was going to learn from that. And instead of getting somebody to sort of, or what seemed to be to me, seemed to be checking the woke boxes, instead of getting a director to check the woke boxes, let's get a director who actually is steeped in this to add clout to the movie. Because Shang-Chi is already a whole side of the Marvel universe that we've not seen yet, that they've not touched on yet in the films. We touched a little bit on it in the Netflix series with Iron Fist and with Daredevil, but we've never done this in the movies. Whole other part, we want to make sure that we hit this, that we start off. It's like kicking off its own little sub-universe of characters. We want to make sure that that's a home run, especially if we want to, you know, hit the woke boxes, you know, hit the diversity boxes, and we're doing an Asian-led film. Let's do justice by that. Nope. or at least get the team from John Wick to do it, and have Samo be the stunt coordinator, or have Jackie be the stunt coordinator, or have Samo be the consulting coordinator, or have Jackie be the consulting coordinator. I wonder if any of those talks happen. I'm not hearing anything in the press, you know, Jackie talking about, yeah, they approached me, but I didn't want to do it. Or Samo, yeah, they approached me, but I didn't want to do it. I don't hear anything about that. No one's talking about this. And I find it, I mean, I guess I don't find it very strange. Our culture is becoming more and more disconnected, in my opinion. But yeah, I can't believe I'm talking about this. What are y'all's idea about that? Do y'all agree with me? Do you think a Shang-Chi movie with the John Wick team, so directing, producing team, stunt team, all of that, and Samo or Jackie as a consultant, or Samo or Jackie as the stunt coordinators? What do y'all think about that? I feel like that's a slam dunk. I feel like you can do a $20 million movie and you put that crew, those people together, and you're gonna get gold. You're gonna get magic. You're gonna get The Raid. You're gonna get The Protector by Tony Jaa film. Y'all should see it. It's fire. The stunts are crazy. You're gonna get, is it Chocolate? I think it's Chocolate. You're gonna get Chocolate. Fighting is insane. Yeah. So yeah, that's my thoughts. I want to see it though. I'm gonna come back and talk about it after I see it. That's gonna be a thing. It'll be my own little mini review, and I don't know whether I'm gonna recommend it or not, but that's a thing. So let's move on. We're gonna dive in head first. Afghanistan. I was about to cuss, but no. Afghanistan. Now, I'm going to talk about a few broad stroke things, a few things going on in the media, stuff that just doesn't make sense to me, you know? Like, dude, what are you doing, Biden? What is happening here? But if you all want a super concise breakdown, because I know we're all sort of getting it piecemeal, and a lot of us who are not super following into politics are just, you know, we see the headlines, oh, this is happening, oh, now this is happening, oh, now that is happening. How do we get here? Who do we blame? Do we blame Trump? Of course we blame Bush, but do we blame Trump? Do we blame Biden? Do we listen to Biden and blaming Trump? Do we listen to Harris and blaming Trump and saying that Biden is a hero and is courageous? Or do we believe everybody else and everybody else in the world who's saying that this was trash, Biden made a horrible decision, and Biden ain't doing a good job? Go and see, for those who want the play-by-play, go and watch Don't Walk Run's video. It's a YouTube channel called Don't Walk Run. And he does all politics, and he presents the play-by-play of how this went down in a nice little entertaining video. So y'all can see that and know it's not like an opinion piece that's skewed left, skewed right, and far left, far right. No. This is what happened. You know, this is when they did the treaty, the pledge, the agreement. This is what the agreement was about. This is what was in the agreement. This is what happened. It's just a timeline of what happened. And just, oh my Lord. I recommend everybody go and see that. Because it's easy for us, at least I should say in this generation, but in this era, it's easier and easier for us to just look at our screens and see what the talking heads are saying and then click away and just get everything piecemeal and not have the whole story, but then think that because we saw enough parts that we have the whole story, but really it's not what's actually going on. I've encountered that a lot. So yeah, go and check that out. Link will be in the description. Don't Walk Run. It'll be on the Afghanistan pullout. Pause. So yeah, so get the details there, get the deets there. But I'm just gonna talk about a few wild, like this thing took twists and turns. So we get the agreement that happened between the United States and the Taliban back in the Trump administration. They set up a bunch of stuff. They set up a bunch of rules and regulations for America pulling out of Afghanistan, finally being done in Afghanistan. With the leaders of the Taliban. Why with the leaders of the Taliban? Because the Taliban are going to come back. They want to come back and rule the country. But America, like there is already an Afghan government. And so America built that, helped to strengthen the army and so on and so forth. So Taliban in that area is the most dominant, more dominant than ISIS and Al-Qaeda, right? So we make an agreement with them. They're going to pull up no matter what. So Trump knew this. Everybody knows this. The Taliban is going to pull up regardless. Once America leaves, the Taliban is coming. Now, the agreements are that the Taliban not not use Afghanistan as their trap house, basically. For those of you to put it in ground level terms, you feel me? You're not going to use Afghanistan as your own personal trap house for terrorism and for terroristic activities, for your jihad. Go somewhere else. Leave Afghanistan alone. They've built up. They've got democratic elections. Let them do the damn thing. You feel me? So that was the gist of the agreement. Now, there's a whole lot of, there's details there. Go watch the video. And I believe the agreement is publicly available, so I think you can look it up. But there's details there, how they will conform to that. And so that got made, and the agreement was that America was going to pull out on the 1st of May, 2021. Biden gets elected. Biden says we're going to keep to the pulling out, and then says we are not going to keep to the pulling out. We're going to pull out on September 11th. So to me, that looked like, so now my opinion, hot take, my opinion is that Biden administration saw the agreement, saw what was happening. They already knew what was happening. Trump had made this agreement and it was publicized. Everybody knew this. So Biden didn't come in the dark. He knew what was going on. They were gradually pulling out troops, because that was part of the agreement, was that troops were going to be gradually scale back until the last of them were gone. And so that was going down. And Biden knew this. Biden in the news has been saying, oh, we didn't know. Oh, we didn't think. They're grilling Biden. And he's like, oh, the transition, they made it difficult for us to know what was happening. No. Don't believe that. Don't. For 1 second. I mean, it could be true that the Trump administration was being a little coy with certain things in the transition. But do not believe for a second that once Biden gets in there, he's not getting briefed on the Middle East every other week. So please don't buy it. Forget about Democrat, Republican, moderate. Just don't buy it. Excuse me. Just don't buy it, because that's a lie. It's a lie. Absolutely lying. He's lying to the American people. Now, Biden comes in and says we're going to change the date. We're going to pull out September 11th, and I see it as him wanting to claim what would be perceived, or what could be perceived as, a foreign policy victory for America. So, and just to show y'all, I really don't like it. I don't always like talking about politics, because it's so not for the people. Like, it's so not for us. These people are not making laws, but they're making moves that are not necessarily for our well-being most of the time. Sometimes, but most of the time, nah. So, and that's both sides. That's if it's a Republican-led House or Democrat. It's just the same. And so what I see here, Marcus's, this is Marcus's theories here. This is my my hot take, my opinion. But Biden moving it to September 11th, citing tactical difficulties with pulling out troops. To me, there could be many other reasons, but it looks like, in the court of public opinion, because this administration seems to be very into, they want to be woke. Biden is the woke president. It seemed like they wanted to claim the victory for them. So you got to go in and put your own stamp on the contracts, put your own hands on it, so that then you could be able to say, oh, I had a hand in it. I had a hand in making this happen. We moved it. I'm sure it was going to be, the spin, the PR, the whatever from front of the American people. Oh, we're celebrating. I moved it to September 11th to commemorate what happened on September 11th. We went in there because of September 11th. Now we're going to leave out of there September 11th, and we're not going to be like that. Like, a whole bunch of ways to kind of twist that, moving it to that date and manipulate people's hearts and heartstrings and their minds to ingratiate Biden and the administration with the people, And I thought, or I think that was it was not a good idea. Why? Now, it could very well be, because I don't really know. I'm not an intelligence operative. It could have very well been that there was some kind of tactical thing that was making it difficult, and that they just were like, let's just pull it back. Why really it's trash, aside, these guys being whatever kind of peddlers of virtue signaling that they want to be. Set that aside. But why go back on an agreement and not go back to the table and do a new agreement? So I could very easily see the Taliban seeing Biden announce that we're going to pull out on September 11th instead of May 1st, when it was a minute that they had to pull out. I could see the Taliban going, oh, y'all are going to double cross us? Y'all are going to betray us? Your government signed the contract. This is what y'all are supposed to do. And you're not going to do it now? I could very easily see the pride, all the jihad, all the things coming up, all the, we got to fight for what we believe in, welling up. And I could very easily see them considering it that way and start to attack the Afghan army. Because that's what happened. The reason why Afghan army retreated so easily and the Taliban were able to take the country so quickly is because there were skirmishes happening from May. Once Biden announced that we're not going to pull out on May, that was it. All bets were off. They were going to pull out on September 11th. There were skirmishes with the Afghan army, and the Afghan army had been whittled down. Nobody talked about this. Nobody reported on this. They had been whittled down. So you had members of the Afghan army that were deserters, that surrendered in the battles to the Taliban. And so the Taliban had been whittling down the army since they felt, or it seems like they felt double-crossed and betrayed by the American government. So Biden pulling out all these troops in the dead of the night, because the report showed, let me see, do I have it here? No, I don't think I have that article here, but y'all can go look it up. The reports were that America pulled out in the dead of night to show you how sleazy this was. Absolute sleaze. Not caring about any of the other, not caring about all of the American nationals that are living in Afghanistan, not caring about all the staff and the embassies that are living in Afghanistan, not caring about our allies' embassies and our allies' nationals, foreign nationals that are living in Afghanistan, not caring at all. Just going, okay, by night we're gonna do, we're gonna do the beta thing, and we're gonna pull out in the dead of night, cut off all the power to the bases, not tell the Afghan government, the Afghan army that we're gone, and we leave. Then the next day, the Afghan army wants to come in and resume operations, and they're like, why is the power off? Where did the soldiers go? Where did America go? So of course the remaining Afghan army and the Afghan government is gonna retreat. They're gonna disappear. They're gonna head for the hills. Because not only have we been fighting with the Taliban for the past few months over the summer, and our armies have been dwindling, but now we don't even have the support of America to back us up in this time where our armies are hurt and are dwindling. So of course it makes sense that the president's going to bounce. Everybody's going to bounce. They're going to airlift out of the embassies, all that jazz. Even though Biden said in the press conferences that we're not going to be, that the situation on the ground there is not like Vietnam, because the reporters were grilling him. Finally, and let me say this too, finally these niggas was grilling Biden. Finally we were getting real questions being asked to President Biden, and not these softball questions. He already knows what the questions are. He already has pre-programmed answers to them, which is crazy to me, that everybody is somehow okay. Like this is some kind of clown world. This is circus. Some people are okay with Biden not being able to think for himself, but have a binder of preset answers and questions. Dude walks around at the press conference with an index card with the stats so that he could remember what the stats are. Are you kidding me? He knows the names of the report. The reporters are handpicked and asking the questions that are handpicked for Biden. What? Let Trump have done that. Let Trump be the dude. Then they would really call him a dictator. They already did. And he really didn't do dictatory things. And they called him that. Imagine if Obama did that. Ha. Ha. Niggas in the streets would be like, oh, this dude is making us look bad now. Like we're not smart. Like he can't think for himself. He can't think on his feet. What's his level of intelligence? But people are not questioning. And oh my gosh, it's wild. Or at least the mainstream media were not questioning. And I've met a lot of people that are not questioning. But I've also met a lot of people who are like, something's wrong with Biden. He doesn't seem to be all there. So even after Biden, they brought up the question that are we going to be pulling people out? Is this a situation similar to Vietnam, where we got to send helicopters and pull people out of the embassies from the routes? And Biden was like, no, this is not the situation. This is not that situation. And that's exactly what was happening. Like, I can't. I don't know how y'all can, who are canning with this, but I can't. It's a circus. It's a clown show. Biden really looks like a puppet, 100%. And I think I'm going to do a whole other episode about what I think about what's happening with the government. But I keep saying it. It's gonna be a different episode. But man, if people did not think that the puppet theory is viable, I hope that they think so now, 100%. Because ain't no shame in the game no more. He's correcting the reporter is asking him the question in a way that is not on his little sheet that is supposed to be. So he's having trouble finding the question. He finds the question on his little cheat sheet that they give him, and then corrects the reporter on how they should have asked the question so that it matches what his cheat sheet says. I can't. Whose man's is this? Whose man's is this? That's what I gotta say. Whose man's is this? Man, it's just, it hurts because now America is really looking beta. Hella beta. Hella. All the way. Beta on the world stage. And that's not cool. It's not cool. It's so beta to the point that our allies feel betrayed. It's so beta to the point that our allies don't want to mess with us no more. As long as Biden or Harris is in that administration, they don't want to mess with us no more. And I've got the articles. We're going to go into the stories. Let's go into what's been going on with this weird clown world circus show that's been happening around Afghanistan. And let's not get it twisted. It's been a circus show with the Biden administration since day one. So let's not even get that. And it's all now starting to come to a head. Right now, the outlets, as of today, are putting out stories like, oh, there's so many deadlines looming that Biden set and the administration set to fix certain things and to do certain things that they're not going to get it done. And it's going to be indicative of how weak of a president Biden is and the administration is, and that the American government is starting to become. That's neither here nor there right now. We're not going to talk on that. So this week, and the events evolving here, this was interesting. He had an address. Excuse me. And wait, let me talk about the address too, because I'm about to hit a little thing there, a little cool, little fun, little snippet about how this is so clowny. This dude is a clown. So and don't get it twisted. This isn't Republican Democrat thing. This is who is the president. This guy's the president. Okay, president of the United States. Do your president thing. Guide us to where we need to be. Make sure you're doing your thing. We look strong. You have courage. You speak with conviction, so on and so forth. This dude is a clown. So we have the press conference. First of all, Afghanistan happens, and my guy is on vacation, and doesn't immediately come back from vacation. Doesn't cut his vacation short. Just goes, oh, like stuff is happening, and no one's hearing from him. Days are going. No one's hearing a comment from Biden as he's out chilling. Then we get the story that he's getting briefings and things. Then he comes back, right? Biden, I know that your administration is not watching me, is not watching this, but all of y'all, if somebody wanted to do a power move, if a president wanted to turn around and still show that they were strong, still show that they were, try to put a little ounce of backbone and bravado into who they are and what they're doing. If I was Biden, I would come right off on my vacation and go, listen, I could not vacation any longer because our nationals within the borders of Afghanistan don't get to have a vacation from the Taliban. And that would have been the mic drop moment. Bang. Oh, this dude is about it. He's about it. No. The thing happens, days happen. He's on vacation and stays on vacation. gets briefed while he's on vacation in little boardrooms and they have a meeting. Instead of him coming off of vacation, addressing the United States and essentially addressing the world for the fiasco, the foreign policy fiasco that is this Afghanistan pullout. Instead of doing that, has a brief while he's on vacation. They have pictures, photo ops of him on a Zoom call. And then he comes back and addresses. When he addresses, these addresses were on another level. First thing he does is blame Trump. First thing, modus operandi number one. His speech writers or whoever, I don't know who's writing his stuff, who's guiding it, but modus operandi was to go, oh, this is Trump's fault. Y'all didn't say this is Trump's fault when Biden, when he came into office, said that they were going to pull out May 1st and then switched it up and said they're going to pull out September 11th. He didn't say this is Trump's fault. He went along with the agreement. Why? And nobody wants to say this, but even in the press conference, even in the addresses, Biden agrees with Trump that they're going to fight each other. The Taliban is going to pull up, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. We should not be meddling in their affairs. Let that part of the world do what that part of the world does. If they all want to kill each other, let them kill each other. They are sovereign nations. They are their own peoples. We don't need to keep manipulating them. We don't need to keep playing God with politics and peoples and civilians and try to mold them in America's image. We don't need to keep doing that. Trump was right about that. Anybody who believes that, understands it that way, is right about that. And Biden is right about that because he agrees with Trump on that regard, and no one talked about it. Biden said a flavor of that. So let me, tell you, it's not about Democrat rep. I'll give credit where credit's due. That made sense. Which is why Biden was not out here and his administration was not. When I say Biden, I mean the administration. I don't really mean Biden himself. That means that the administration, that would have been the wording. That would have been the messaging. That would have been the posturing. That once he came in, we're going to undo this Middle East peace agreement because it was not a good deal, because it's not in our best interest, because I believe that it's not in our allies' best interest. So we're going to go back to the drawing board with the Taliban and we're going to figure something out. We're going to figure out a better deal. The way that Trump helped garner a new deal, trade deal between Canada and Mexico. I'm going to go in and help to guide that. And they came to the table. Everybody talked. Everybody got what they seemingly got, most of what they wanted. And we now have a better trade deal. That's the wording, the approach, the posturing that the Biden administration would have taken if they understood that this agreement was a mistake. No, they piggybacked on the agreement. They let the agreement rock. He changed the date that they were going to leave, thinking that the Taliban were not like. Are you kidding me? Thinking that the Taliban were not about that life, like they were not about it. It's just so inept to me. Inept. And so they were not disavowing this agreement ever. They let this agreement happen. I mean, let it follow through. They even wanted to follow through and put their fingerprints on it and move it to September 11th so that they can get even more woke points for the optics. But this is the real world. Yeah, there's optics there. You got to take that into account. But we're dealing with a country of people, innocent people that don't want war, that don't want violence, that have seen and want generations that have seen the Taliban rape, murder, kill innocent people. So many generations that have grown up, the generation now grown up there having lived that as children. Because it was like 96 when the Taliban was in power there. So it was like what do you don't care about the people. You don't care about the people there. You don't care about our people there. You don't care about Britain's people there, France's people there, our allies. You don't even care about that. You didn't care about what the ramifications were going to be of you wanting to manipulate and put your fingers on it, put it to September 11th so that you don't have to give Trump any credit for actually sitting down and negotiating that deal, doing the hard work, the heavy lifting of the Trump administration to sit down, have meetings with them and meetings with them and meetings with them, and basically tell them we're gonna bounce, but if you don't start none, won't be none. If you start hurting these people, we're gonna come for you and we're gonna kill you. That's basically what Trump's administration was telling them, the leaders of the Taliban. And they straightened up real quick. But we're gonna get to do whatever. If we want to come back to Afghanistan, we can. Okay, great. Straight backed, and there was peace. There was a lasting peace. Taliban didn't kill nobody in that whole time. But Biden, and I feel, and he really, this administration doesn't care about the American people. Most politicians don't. They think that we're stupid. They think that we're dumb. They think that at the very least, there's going to be a contingent of people that are going to believe them just because they're government, that are going to believe CNN, that are going to believe Fox News. All the media, that's what they understand, that we're sheep. So yes, it is 100% provable, and it is 100% viable, and it is 100% objectively available. There is recorded evidence of it that I said these things in the past. But I'm going to act like I didn't say these things. They are like I didn't say what I was going to do, and I'm going to do this other thing because this other thing that I'm going to do now is better for me. And I'm just going to bank on nobody remembering that I said I was never going to do this thing, and now I'm doing this thing because it's better for me. And there's people that are, oh yeah, Biden is courageous. Kamala, I have it in the article, and I'm gonna have it down in the down to the thing, and I know that I'm ranting, but Kamala Harris finally speaking out, because they put her in some weird radio silence after that Guatemala visit. This is according to Fox News. Yeah, some people don't like Fox News, but it's an article. It's here. Kamala Harris, and this is by no means is this where I get my news from. Like generally, I feel like I have to give that disclaimer. I don't just get my news from CNN. I don't just get my news sources from Fox. Y'all could see in the other episodes. Y'all know. For y'all who have been here, y'all know. I'm getting my stuff from all kinds of outlets. I give all kinds of links. But Kamala Harris calls Biden's Afghanistan decision courageous as others in White House blame Trump. What? You've got boots on the ground, military, coming out and saying this is Biden's fault, not Trump's fault. Boots on the ground, military, Marines, high ranking. This should not have been done this way. We got orders to do it this way. This should not have gone this way. We left these people, and it's wrong, and it was evil. Boots on the ground. Remember, boots. So we have politicians going, oh, Biden is courageous for pulling everybody out. Yeah, Biden pulled everybody out in the dead of night because the Taliban were coming for the American forces. But they're not going to report on that. They're not going to release that the Taliban is going to go, okay, we've pretty much dwindled their army, the Afghan army. It's time for us to go and overtake what little troops that are left in Afghanistan. And Biden got intelligence that they were going to move on Afghanistan. The Taliban were just going to move on Afghanistan because, America betrayed them. They're just going to move on Afghanistan. They're not going to honor no September 11th. Y'all should have never moved the agreement in the first place without consulting with us, without making a new agreement with us, without respecting us. And, yeah. And so Biden had to have gotten that intelligence, moved everybody out on the dead of night so that the American soldiers would not have to have incursions with the Taliban in the streets of Afghanistan, basically surrendering Afghanistan. And he might say, oh, this was a no-win situation. Oh, what else would I have done? How else would I? This should have been fixed from months and months and months ago. But the Biden administration didn't want to do that. They were more concerned about the optics, about the woke points, about making sure that we don't give credit to Donald Trump. More concerned with that than with the well-being of Afghans, the well-being of all of our operatives in Afghanistan, the well-being of all of our staff in Afghanistan, the well-being of all of our foreign nationals living in Afghanistan, and the well-being of our allies' foreign nationals living there. He didn't care at all. to show how disrespectful it is. You've got people, even though the Taliban are terrorists, and I'm not an apologist for terrorism or for the jihad, no. But I do understand that we're all humans. We're all people. As much as in America, we want to preach or promote the messages, and all these companies want to promote the messages, and all these organizations want to promote the message of diversity and equality and equity and dignity and representation and so on. At the very least, we can give the Taliban dignity as humans. Some people might go, no, because they're subhuman, because they kill people and they're terrorists and the jihad and Islam. Some people will go that route. But let me say this. Donald Trump did not go that route. The Trump administration did not go that route. You saw. They made this agreement. And the reason why, what seems to be, or what I could bank on, because this is conjecture now, what seems to be the sort of the mood, like what the thing that would get the Taliban, who have been hostile and actively terrorizing for all these years, brought them to the table. What brought them to the table for a peace agreement was respect and dignity. Even though the Trump administration and America, the American complex, is going to pull up to the table as the superpower, they gave respect to the Taliban. Not respecting their terroristic acts. They respected them as people, as an organization. Like, yeah, y'all think what y'all think. It's different than us, but we're here to make sure that whatever y'all think and however y'all want to live, that y'all are not coming out here and trying to hurt and kill people. Live however y'all want to live, but just keep it to y'all. Y'all don't got to come over here in Afghanistan and hurt all these people. We're not going to have that again. Respect. And they respected Trump. You better believe. Because if Trump couldn't earn their respect in sitting down to negotiate with them, they would never come to the table. And if they did come to the table, they would have laughed at Trump and there would never have been an agreement. So there had to have been some kind of mutual respect there. Aside from, oh, you know, America's a superpower and they could bomb us. Taliban, suicide bombers, like they to die is gain. They will give their life for Allah and for the jihad. So you're bargaining with people like that, where it doesn't matter how many bombs you have. We're going to come back. We're going to keep fighting. So there had to have been a respect there to show you the disrespect, to show you the talking out of both sides of your mouth. Biden and his administration is supposed to be the woke administration, right? Dignity, respect, representation, equity, equality, right? But then we betray the Taliban. And maybe want to paint the Taliban like they're terrorists, instead of coming to the table again, Biden now coming to the table and crafting a deal that works better. They weren't going to do that. The Taliban doesn't respect Biden. Biden called for extending the evacuation of foreign nationals until the 31st, and the Taliban said, nope, that's not what's going to happen. We see that as unacceptable. So we're not going to honor that. You see that real quick, because Biden was just announcing stuff. They didn't go and talk to them first and then come back and made the announcement. There's no respect there as people. And I think that that's what needed to be there. And it's a shame that it went down the way that it did. But anyway, article. Kamala Harris calls Biden's Afghanistan decision courageous, quote, as others at the White House blame Trump. Now, mind you, if this had went well, Biden would be taking all the credit. Let's not get it twisted. He would be taking all of the credit. If they were actually bouncing out on September 11th and did everything properly and the Taliban didn't kill nobody, Biden would say that it's a victory for Biden. The administration wouldn't say that it's a Trump victory. They probably wouldn't even thank Donald Trump for going in and making that agreement. Remember this. It's the way of the politician. It's the way of the shirts versus skins. It's the way of we care about us being in power and them not being in power. Remember that. Is vice president, as the article reads, Biden administration has been putting forth dueling messages about Afghanistan with withdrawal. Let me get my my news voice. Vice President Kamala Harris gave credit to President Biden for deciding to end the war in Afghanistan, even though members of the administration, including Biden himself, have blamed former President Trump for agreeing to withdraw U.S. troops. So look at the contradiction. He's trying to shift the blame to Trump so that nobody looks at what he did. But Harris, I don't understand it, wants to put an eye or wants to put a focus on what he did, what Biden did. But the other administration don't want to do that because that's not a good idea, because it was a very bad. Most people believe that was handled very horribly. So we don't want to highlight that Biden what Biden did. We want to highlight that this is Trump's fault. But Harris does the opposite thing. Very interesting to me. The article reads, as the U.S. has been scrambling to evacuate Americans and allies out of Afghanistan in the aftermath of the Taliban's takeover of the country, Harris portrayed the situation as the result of correct decision-making by the current administration without mentioning the Taliban's swift victory. See what I'm saying? See what I just said? Oh, we're gonna act like y'all don't remember what just happened. And I'm gonna, because I believe that y'all are gullible, like y'all are not very smart. So y'all are going to just detach on my words because I'm a woman, because I'm a woman of color, because women matter, because I should be listened to because I'm a woman, not based on the merit of what I'm saying. I should not be questioned on the merit of what I'm saying because I'm a woman and I'm a person of color. You see, all of this stuff starts coming into focus now, where please forget about the craziness that's happening there. And, oh, Biden is courageous. He had courage in making that call. What? When boots on the ground who are directly affected by the call that was made are like, nah, this was horrible. This is not the process that was supposed to have been taken for this thing to happen at all. It's wild. It's just I'm now rattling through examples. I know it's a little rant, but rattling through examples, fam, of why this is so clowny. Like clowny. Biden did what, his second address, I think it was, for the regarding Afghanistan. My guy, NBC cuts away as Biden began taking questions from reporters on Afghanistan following Sunday address. Because the previous one is the one where the reporter was like, "Oh, your approval numbers are going down. They're now below 50%. You know, how do you think you're going to deal with that? What does that mean for the administration and so on?" And Biden was like, it was something like that. But Biden was like, "That's not true. That isn't what the numbers are." And the dude was like, pause. It was like a pause. It was like, those numbers came out this morning. It was all over the news. Everybody covered it. Oh my Lord. So watch. So we have Biden in the very early stages. We had Biden doing his own press conference normally. He couldn't do it. Stammering, trailing off in his words, not remembering anything, giving him real time, feeding him real time stuff in the prompter, still not working because he's like struggling to read it and this decision, like struggling with words. Then they did the earpiece and he's listening and trying to go, still didn't work. Now they gave him the thing where now they handpick all of the questions and handpick all of the news outlets that are going to deliver questions. So he knows the name of the reporter, the outlet that they come from, and the question that they're going to ask and the answer that he's supposed to say. He has all of that in a binder, all of that in a cheat sheet that he has in his things now. And now even that's a problem. Anytime Biden goes off of script, we see the emperor is naked. We see that the emperor is naked every time he goes off of script without fail. It's a gaffe. It's a problem. He says things that don't make sense. How are you going to say, how do you not know as a president of the United States that your polling numbers, your approval ratings are going below 50%? Who's not telling him? does he go and just go and have his juice box and then all of the adults in the room go and make the decisions and then bring him on when he has to say what they need him to say as the president? Is he a puppet? Dun, dun, dun. Remember I said earlier, if y'all don't believe that this dude's a puppet by now, it's a lot of evidence. I don't really know. I don't really know what's happening. But it's strange. Very least it's irregular. So he was like, yeah, no, those are not the numbers. Dude was like, yeah, they got released this morning. They were all over the news. So now we have the, oh my gosh, this is funny. So we have, this is also according to Fox News, CBS reporter instructs White House staff to show Biden the poll about his job approval rating falling. The poll shows 74% believe the withdrawal of U.S. troops from Afghanistan has gone very or somewhat badly. According to the article, CBS reporter Bo Erickson called on the Biden administration to inform President Biden on his falling job approval numbers. On Sunday, where's the rest of my article that I want to read? Thank you very much. I want to read my article, please. For some reason, my tablet is not it's not agreeing with me, and I need it to agree with me. Let's go, my guy. Respectfully agree. Let's touch and agree. Thank you. On Sunday, Biden gave an update to reporters on the administration's response to the incoming Hurricane Henry, as well as the ongoing Afghanistan crisis. What's happening? Thank you. Oh my gosh. After the update, he answered questions from the press. CBS reporter Ed O'Keefe asked the president about the most recent CBS News poll, which showed while Americans approve of removing troops from Afghanistan, they disapprove of the president's response. Quote, a new poll out today shows Americans wanted to withdraw from Afghanistan, but they disapprove of the way you've handled it, O'Keefe said. Quote, the majority of Americans forgive... This is Biden. The majority of Americans, forgive me, I'm just the messenger. No longer consider you to be competent. No. How is this worded? Okay, quote, the majority of Americans. Okay, here we go. This is still O'Keefe. Quote, the majority of Americans, and forgive me, I'm just the messenger, no longer consider you to be competent, focused, or effective at the job. What would you say to those Americans? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Shortly afterwards, O'Keefe's colleague Erickson tweeted the poll in an effort for the administration to find it. The quote from the tweet, dear White House staff, please share the below polling to @POTUS. He said he had not seen it yet. Oh my gosh. What in the world? Biden job approval falls. I can't with this. The poll showed that although 63% of Americans currently approve of the removal of U.S. troops, from Afghanistan, only 40% of Americans approve of Biden's handling. Biden's overall approval rating has also dropped to 50%, down from July's rating of 58. In regards to Afghanistan, 44% of Americans polled believe that the removal of U.S. troops has gone very badly, with 74% of those polled believing it went very or somewhat badly. My guy. Whose man's is this? Who's not telling the president what's happening? Why does he not have the room with all the screens on where he's seeing what all the news stuff is? Who is not communicating with him? How is his response to that not something swaggy? Obama would have said something swaggy. Trump would have said something swaggy in both of their own respective ways and charismatic to get people to be on their side. Biden goes, oh, I'm sorry, I haven't seen that poll, and moves on. What? When the question was, what do you say to Americans who think that you're doing a horrible job, my guy? That's the question. Sorry, I haven't seen those polls. Next. I get tight. Absolutely get tight. Absolutely get tight. Our next story. I think I'm going to move. Am I moving away from the... No, we've got one more. Remember, I was talking about our allies, dudes are supposed to be down with us and have been down with us. That this move is probably one of the among the greatest foreign policy failures that the United States has ever had. That our allies now don't want nothing to do with us. That they don't want to mess with a Biden-Harris administration. Oh my gosh. This is also according to Fox News, but of course this is an interview. Nigel Farage, quote, "No way," unquote, "British Parliament would vote for military cooperation with America under Biden administration." Farage warns international terror threat increasing after Afghanistan pullout. Nigel Farage, former Brexit Party leader, slammed the Biden administration's Afghanistan blunder Tuesday, arguing the crisis has led his country of Britain has left. Typo. What's going on here? Arguing the crisis has left his country of Britain feeling, quote, betrayed. Under Biden, Farage told #Fox and Friends that, quote, "There is no way a British Parliament right now would vote for military cooperation with America." And the sort of little direct transcript, once again, link in the description, but direct transcript on this portion of this interview, Nigel Farage, quote, "The medium-term problem is the resurgence of international terror. Already evidence that extremist jihadi groups all over the world have taken great cheer from what the Taliban have done in Afghanistan. And so if we do find ourselves back engaged and, let's be honest, the last few years, we've not seen major terrorist atrocities in the West. But if they start to happen again and we start to think, well, how do we go out again and try and stop these cells that are spreading international terror? How can we do it with the Americans? How can we do it with an ally that is treating us with contempt and betrayed us and, into the bargain, many of our own citizens? Certainly, if it's a Biden or Harris administration, honestly, there is no way a British Parliament right now would vote for military cooperation with America led by this administration. And that's a very sad thing to say, because since 1917, get that number, 1917, this new administration messed up a relationship. 1917. We're talking about over 100 years. 1917, right? Because since 1917, the UK and America have been side by side in virtually every major conflict. We've been the closest allies in terms of military action, in terms of intelligence sharing, in terms of culture, in terms of business. You couldn't have a better ally in the world. And right at the moment, I'm sorry, but there's no way we could enter into another operation with you. But Harris, right? Harris goes, Biden was courageous. It was courage. He made the right call. In jeopardizing 100-year friendships. Okay. So now we're gonna move off of Afghanistan. Some nice little quickie news. I know we talked about this the other episode about a Trump era policy being reinstated, or going for being reinstated, killing a Biden policy, and how the Supreme Court ruled to have a stay on it pending. That they're going to review and see if they're going to block the lower court decision to kill this Biden policy in favor of reinstating a Trump policy for the protection or the shoring up of the border. We've got some stuff on that. The update on that was that the Supreme Court ruled to uphold the lower court's ruling of reinstating Trump's Remain in Mexico policy. The court's 3 liberal justices opposed the move, of course. The U.S. Supreme Court, this is according to Fox News, the U.S. Supreme Court, I know Fox News is on a roll today, the U.S. Supreme Court refused to block a court order requiring the Biden administration to reinstate a Trump-era immigration move known as the Remain in Mexico policy. The policy, implemented by former President Donald Trump, requires asylum seekers at the southern border to stay in Mexico while they await hearings in U.S. courtrooms to determine their eligibility and status, which is a thing. Now there were critics of this, critics of that policy. I'm looking for where it talks. Yeah, critics said the Remain in Mexico policy was cruel and led to migrants being put in danger in camps across the border. The Biden administration promised to end the policy and began processing migrants enrolled in the migrant protection protocols into the U.S. shortly after entering office in June. Shortly after entering the office, period, in June, it formally ended the program. Now, Missouri and Texas sued the administration, claiming that ending the policy was both illegal in the way that it was done and that it harmed both border states and states deeper in the interior by encouraging migrants and therefore fueling the crisis at the southern border. So yeah, this is a thing here. Yeah. Quote, this is Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt. We are hopeful for a favorable ruling because it is clear that the Biden administration didn't consider anything relevant to how it was working or notice and comment. And obviously, we have a crisis at the border now. Quote, he says, anyone who is paying attention knows we have a 21-year high in border crossings. Drug traffickers and human traffickers have been emboldened, and that affects not just Texas, but states like Missouri. So this is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting. The lawsuit claimed some of the migrants released would commit crimes in their states, that it would lead to an increase in human trafficking, and that it would lead to higher costs for the states in areas like education and healthcare, which is very true. I talked about it. I don't know if it was this last episode, but it talks about how Texas is experiencing record high crime rates. Like the crimes are skyrocketing. The border states, it's happening. The crimes are starting to skyrocket, and keeping immigrants who are not, who are still going through the process on United States soil is starting to will eventually become a burden on the systems of those states, on the public systems of those states, and we don't want that. It's not going to be cool. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be a good time for people in those states. So I mean, what do y'all think? I think that this is a good. I think it's got its pros and it's got its cons. And I think if we're talking about for the safety of Americans, I think it's good. You know, I feel like whether those crossing the border at our southern border get held in camps by the border, across the border before they get to their hearing, or whether they're in camps over the border, I don't think it makes too much of a difference. I think if someone's going to perpetrate a crime, they're going to perpetrate a crime and they're going to figure out how to do it against other people. And that's what that's going to be. The idea is we don't want people to start escaping from, if they're being held in camps over the border on our soil, we don't want, and they're waiting to be tried, we don't want them to then have to then escape for whatever reason. They come up missing. So they went in like they were going to go through the system, get to a certain point in the system, and then escape by night into the country. We don't need that to happen. So yeah, what do y'all think? I see that as something decent. All things considered, pros and cons considered, there is a greater good there. And now we're not going to move off yet. COVID. We got the Delta Plus variant. They're talking about some other variants too. COVID news. Biden receives, quote, inconclusive intelligence report on COVID-19 origins. Now, it was a whole big thing. Fauci got grilled. Y'all should go look that up. Rand Paul, mad people grilled the CDC head, grilled Fauci over COVID and its origins and so on. And they agreed that we need to find out what the origins are. Like, it's imperative that we do. At first, Biden wanted to block it, and then very quickly changed his tune when he saw that nobody else. It's like one of them niggas that is like, yeah, let's go do this. Let's go. And then they're like looking around to see if anybody else is agreeing with them. And then if somebody agrees with them, they get the backbone. That's what Biden did. At very, 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 very beginning, Biden was like, oh, we don't need to think because it just came from the wildlife. That's all we need to do. And then nobody agreed with him. And then he was like, oh yeah. We gotta investigate that. Showing you clown, politics, politician, money, benefit, power. That's what this is. So they did the inquiry. It was like a 3-month intelligence agency inquiry, like trying to investigate, trying to think. But of course, China is not going to play ball. They're not going to incriminate themselves if it was a lab leak. Now, Rand Paul brought up a very interesting point in one of the subcommittee hearings. It was a little while ago, where he talked about how any of the viruses that had come from China in the past. I think he referenced SARS. That they said it came from an animal, China. They did their investigation. They gave us the data to prove that it came from an animal up front. So when we were ready to ask them, they already had all the information ready for us, because they did their own thing to try to kill the disease, and they had all their own. They found out where it came from. Rand Paul cited China has yet to do that for COVID-19. And they did that within months of SARS being a thing, being an outbreak. So he said, people don't want to talk about a lab leak. For a long time, the administration was trying to silence people talking about a lab leak. The court of public opinion was trying to silence people, calling people crazy if they say it's a lab leak, calling it Asian hate. Oh yeah, there were those people out there saying that it was Asian hate to even think that it could be possible that it was a lab leak coming out of China. Strange to me. And now, now it's being investigated. There were people on YouTube that had their whole channels demonetized, that got their careers derailed. There were individuals in the public sphere that got their credentials taken from them because they hypothesized about the possibility of it being a lab leak. Just so let's put that into perspective. I'm telling you, money, power, control. This is according to the New York Post, right? A classified U.S. intelligence report delivered to President Biden was inconclusive about the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic, including the widely pushed theory that the virus jumped from animals to humans due to a lack of information from China, where the deadly bug emerged in Wuhan. Y'all can go and read the rest of that article. We're about to be winding down. But y'all, when you have health officials not wanting to investigate and then changing their mind to investigating, because that's what happened with Fauci. Fauci was one of those people that said it could not be a lab leak. It could not. It has animal reservoirs. It came from an animal without any investigation. Just believed what China was telling him. And of course, we got emails and things of sort of some collusion happening there. But that's going to be, hopefully, will be investigated. Hopefully, there will be a day in court. But mainstream media is not really going to report on it. That is a real thing. Their emails, it's a thing. It's not, I'm not doing a conjecture or some kind of QAnon conspiracy tinfoil hat. It's publicly available. Look them up. So Fauci was one of those people too. Oh no, it's not a lab leak. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Late night TV refuses. Anybody talks about lab leak, any of the guests, they got to steer them away from that. It's not a lab leak, because it's Asian hate if we say it's a lab leak. It's discrimination if we say it's a lab leak. Words hurt. Come on, y'all. Come on. It's about control, y'all. I'm telling y'all, it's about control. It's about power. It's about power. So Delta variant is out here circulating. We still don't know where it came from. Is inconclusive because China doesn't want to play ball. Why would China not want to play ball when they played ball every other time? They're only making themselves look guilty. Rand Paul brought that up too when he was talking about this in the Senate hearing. He was like, if they don't have if it came from an animal, just tell us where, tell us how, tell us, like, give us the data. You gave us the data for all these other viruses that have had outbreaks in your country. Why would you not do it for this one? If you want to say, because China did say that officially, if the lab leak hypothesis is it's not founded, is disrespectful to us, and so on. What? There were lab leak theories before for SARS, and y'all still gave us the data before. So to not prove y'all correct that it came from an animal, y'all don't want to give us the data to show us that it came from an animal. Y'all don't want to give us no data. Y'all are being tight-lipped about it. Okay, CCP, you just look guilty. I hope that we eventually find out where it came from. I hope we eventually find the cause of this, because millions of people are dead around the world. Global pandemic of epic proportions. Oh my Lord. So what do y'all think about that? I think this is trash. I think politicization. I think CCP have their own agenda that's happening here. And I'm not going to talk too much about what my theories are there. I'm going to wait till a few other things happen to see whether there's more credence in support of the certain theories that I have. But man, this CCP is on another level. They're not, let me not even go too far. This is just wild. And I know this is a hot button issue. I'm not a doctor. I'm not talking from some medical standpoint and giving medical advice. I'm not talking about no anti-vax and go get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated. I'm not addressing none of that. I'm talking about COVID and the origins, talking about how it's really interesting. This is a really interesting thing. Really, it's a lot of clown world stuff happening. Something that I'm keeping my eyes on. Y'all should keep your eyes on it too. Don't let NBC, CBS programming to distract you too crazy. Don't let primetime cable distract you too much from what's actually happening. Enjoy, by all means, enjoy media, but you know. Now, just a little side thing. We're about to be done right here. Cowboy Bebop, they just released. For those of you who know what Cowboy Bebop is, great, awesome. For those of you who don't, Japanese anime. Netflix went in, decided to, I don't know if what the other production companies are on it, but they're doing a Cowboy Bebop Netflix series. I'm pretty hype. I want to see it. They announced this a long time ago. They didn't release any footage, nothing regarding it until now. And so I'm going to link that in the description, because I had my doubts about John Cho as Spike Spiegel, but I'm sold. I'm sold just from these images. I'm going to include the links in the descriptions. Y'all can figure out what Cowboy Bebop is. I might even do some links to Cowboy Bebop too, so y'all can enjoy that. For those who don't know what it is. Now we have reached the end of the show. I'm going to recommend, please, y'all, from the Shang-Chi clip, and I'm like, there's a slew of movies with less than a third of the budget of this movie, whose stunt coordinating is way better, whose fight scenes are on an ethereal level without having to have 1,000 pounds of special effects and 1,000 pounds of Disney sheen on it and Marvel sheen. I'm gonna link in the description. Watch Chocolate, action movie. If y'all like fighting movies, Chocolate, The Protector. All right. I'm gonna link those down in the description. The Protector is starring Tony Jaa. If y'all haven't seen it, enjoy it. And Chocolate, I forget the actress's name, but Chocolate is a very interesting premise. I got into that film, super interesting. And just sit back and enjoy. Grab your popcorn and enjoy well choreographed storytelling through action. Okay, those are my recs. I will definitely have the video on Afghanistan and this whole Afghanistan debacle, the play-by-play, so that y'all know what's happening, conveyed in a much more entertaining fashion, with someone with much more knowledge on politics than me. I'm just, social millennial. I'm just chilling here. I'm not a political science major or anything like that, or a political pundit. Just letting y'all know what I think about certain things and what's going down. Check Don't Walk Run video out. I'm going to link that in the description. The links on these stories are going to be in the description where available. Once again, y'all, if y'all want to connect with us, at Social Millennial Pod, 1N on Facebook and Instagram. Once again, give us a review, like us like us where applicable, follow us where applicable. Click that star for the notification on your RSS feed where applicable to get notifications. Click the little bell icon and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and give us a review, even if it's a 2-star, even if it's a 3-star, if it's a 5-star, great. Thank y'all so much. Comment where available. We want to hear from y'all. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all for your time. Thank y'all for your energy. Whether, like I said, whether it's a second, whether it's 2 minutes, whether you're here with us for the whole episode, it means a lot. I will see y'all. Have a great week. Stay safe. Stuff is getting wild. Arm yourself with proper information. Stay strong. And, hopefully I'll see y'all next week. I'll see y'all definitely on the next one. All right. Peace.